Yeah.
We're actually live. But usually what I do, because things have changed since the last time we spoke, it's been like, I don't know, like over a year, right? So
Yeah.
there's actually like a system now. So, because I know exactly why people watch my videos and why they click out of it, right? I could tell from YouTube data. So, for people that are watching this on the replay, this is kind of like how the sausage is made. I hate going live. I've only done like 3 or 4 live streams, but I wrote down, this is how I prepared. I wrote down like maybe 9 fragments of sentences to keep myself on track because I have like, I'm way off base, right? So we got someone else coming in, right, Matt?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, I just want to make sure that someone just like from Twitter didn't get in here. So hey, how's it going, Matt?
Hey,
good. How are you doing?
Great, man. Great. No, I was just we're live now, and let people trickle in, and basically just like to keep it moving and keep people watching. We'll talk about the mint as much as possible, right? We'll keep the mint the main thing. That's what people are probably going to click on the video for. But then, of course, I want to talk a little bit about Bad Kids, quite a bit about like, you know, the work itself and all the background story that goes into it. And maybe some fun questions at the end if you guys are game. But like I was saying before, Matt, before I brought you in, I kind of know exactly when people click out of my videos based on the YouTube data. So that's why I think the best thing, we'll talk about the mint. And by the way, NFT YouTube content doesn't do that great overall, it seems. But this one will do well because Stargaze people watch this channel, and a lot of people are very interested in this collection. So basically, people always click out of the video. Like right now, people are going to click out because I'm talking too long. But in general, any long, like the people in the chat are going to start complaining any minute. Any long stories that I tell, it's no good for TV. Any long like tangents, people just X out of the video, and any long screen shares, people actually X out of the video. But we will do a screen share for at least a few minutes. But while we're waiting for a couple people to trickle in, you guys want to give a quick, hello to the community, because some of you guys, well, maybe a lot of people don't probably have never seen Cortland, right? They just know you. So yeah, we'll go one by one. Steve, Joe, then Matt, and then we'll get rolling.
Cool. Well, yes. Hello. People probably know me as Cortland. My name is Joe. Also another Joe. That's confusing. So maybe you can just call me Cortland. It doesn't really matter that much. But yeah, I mean, I guess I was anonymous when I launched Bad Kids, but over the past year, like I've been to events, like I've met people, like everyone's been great. I don't know. I think a lot of people were, like, oh, stay anonymous. Like it's good to have that flexibility. But I ultimately, I don't know. I don't think I needed it that much. And it feels weird if I'm making these two people be not anonymous for me to be anonymous.
Actually, the first time I met you, I think Darius from Stargaze, like, that's Joe. And I was like, what? But he said it like I was supposed to already know you, but I never knew that was your name. So I was like really confused, and I was like, oh, Cortland. Yeah. So
yeah. Steve, introduce yourself.
Steve's up next. Yeah. And Steve, I did get to meet you last night, so it was nice to meet you.
Yeah. I'm still awake, so I'm looking for today to be a successful follow-up to last night's activities.
I took today off. I think I destroyed myself last night. I actually lost my voice at a crypto meetup. That's not common. So I had to pack it in today, but maybe tomorrow. And maybe we'll talk a little bit about what's going on tomorrow in case there are people that are watching that are in the area, can hit up some Cosmos themed events as well. So Matt, I never met you, I don't think, unless you were there last night and I just don't remember.
No, I wasn't there, Joe. My name's Matt. I'm a writer. I'm friends with these two. Boom, back to you, Joe. No one left during my.
Yeah, that was tight.
No click outs.
Well, you cracked the code for sure. I definitely have done videos where people like watch like a second and click out. So that's definitely, once I was looking at that, and people that are watching have no idea. They think like if a video has 1,000 clicks, like 1,000 people watch the whole video. Less than 50% of people watch beyond 30 seconds. So it's very tricky. If you see a bunch of clicks on YouTube videos, you're like, oh, this must be a good video. It might just be a good thumbnail. And my thumbnails are terrible. So
Looking out.
Well, yeah, it's I'm used to it. I was the last writing project I worked on was this narrative podcast for Spotify, and before they released it, they had this focus group go through, and everyone in the focus group had a dial, and while they were listening to the podcast, they just turned the dial to indicate where they were interested or not. And whenever so we had to adjust the script based on when the dial like went below 30%.
That's pretty cool. That would be helpful actually, but maybe
yeah,
that's an advantage of going live, I guess, when I don't like doing it, because I could basically tank my whole YouTube channel with like 1 or 2 bad minutes of just ranting or cursing or something. So all right, let's start with the mint info. It's tomorrow, right? April 14th. It's on Stargaze. There's a whitelist time and then there's a public time. Why don't we start there?
Okay, yeah. So after the filter, it's a really exciting hand-drawn collection. There's 9,999. 9,000 will be available to mint. It's priced at 1,600 stars, which is, it was around $25 at the beginning of the week when we announced that. I think it's higher now.
People are probably loading up on stars because they're, I mean,
well, that's good. I hope they got
Friday,
their stars, yesterday or the day before. Yeah, and there's a whitelist. It's not a traditional whitelist. We didn't collect a bunch of names or make people do contests to get on the whitelist. If you own any bad kids, you have 1 whitelist slot for every bad kid you own. That whitelist period starts tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern, which, have we figured out what that translates to? Is that 4 o'clock UTC?
+4.
I have no idea. It changes, right? Sometimes it's +4, sometimes it's +5.
Oh, great. Okay.
It's after siesta. That's all I know. In
Okay.
Europe.
Well,
But yeah, whitelist basically early dinner time in Europe, and then public mint before bedtime. So I think it's a good time to do that.
Yes. Apologies to South Korea, Japan, China, everyone on that side of the planet. I know it's going to be, I think, 1 a.m. for you when the whitelist opens up. If you, if you stay up for it, really appreciate it.
I lived in South Korea, and they pride themselves on going to bed really late and waking up really early. So it's maybe it'll work out actually perfect at this time. So roughly $25, something like that. It's going to fluctuate between now and Friday. It might fluctuate even between now and when you mint. And that's the whitelist price, or is it the same price?
It's the same price for both.
I like that. Some people are used to getting a discount for the whitelist, but the whitelist gets to mint, is guaranteed to mint. Everyone else is not. So that's the whitelist, right? I like that. And then having the OG bad kid, that's your perk for having that NFT in your
exactly. It's a nice perk for having a bad kid. It's not going to mint out in the whitelist. There'll be plenty for everyone. I see people buying bad kids. I maybe they want to have a drama-free minting experience. Like, I don't know if we're going to crash Stargaze when the public opens up, but that'd be cool. I shouldn't say that. That's not going to happen. We're not going to crash Stargaze. Everything's fine.
I don't remember Stargaze ever crashing, but I have definitely been on other platforms that immediately crash when a mint opens. Like the first time I ever tried to mint an NFT, it was NBA Top Shot, and it crashed like 3 days in a row, and I just gave up, and I just never bothered to get it. And I think a lot of people made money flipping those. Cardano used to crash all the time just for like one mint. So
and that's having a chain that's entirely for NFTs is not likely to crash from one big project.
All right, cool. All right, so we got the and like you said, it's not going to mint out on the whitelist. There are a bunch of people holding bad kids that have no wallet activity for months, right? So
Right.
they're just hoarding bad kids. They might not even know this mint is happening. They'll get involved on the secondary market, and plus one bad kid equals one mint, right?
Mhm.
So there's no reason to like spread your bad kids to like 100 wallets, right? That's not going to help.
Right.
Right. Okay,
Yeah.
good. So for people that do that, you know, you still might want to do it because it's, I don't know why people, but don't game the mints. Just, you don't have to. This is like now people, when they ask you, well, what's the utility of a bad kid? It's a whitelist. It's a whitelist token. So there you go. How many times did you get asked that in the last year? Roadmap.
A lot, but you know what? It's funny. People aren't asking it as much anymore. It's like, okay, they got bit kids now. They're getting whitelisted for this if they want it. It's. I'm a big fan of just giving people stuff, but not promising it up front. If you promise it up front, people are just going to be disappointed when that thing manifests. And they're also going to calculate that into the value of the thing.
Of course, and then and now it's going to be held over your head every time something is like a day late from when you promised, right? So
yeah,
I don't know. People that are watching are probably like, we want roadmap, we want this. Just like collect the NFTs; they're fun. If I actually had a real NFT collection, I would just make all the Genesis projects the whitelist tokens that are still active, right? So it'd be
yeah.
You get to mint if you are holding Genesis NFTs. All right. Any restrictions on the minting? Is it like max per wallet? How is that working out? It's a big collection, so it might not even apply, right?
I think, well, when it gets to the public mint, I think most likely there's going to be a 10 or 20 wallet, or like a maximum mint of 10 or 20 per wallet. Okay. We should probably decide on that pretty soon, because a lot of people have been asking. We want to make sure that everyone has a chance to get some.
Yeah. So yeah, then that's a big deal, because otherwise, it is nice sometimes to just mint it out, and you end up with a whole bunch of collection whales, but then the secondary market kind of figures out the distribution.
Yeah.
But then it becomes almost like a ticket scalping situation, right? Like
right.
Yeah, no, I like the way you guys did this. This collection doesn't look like bad kids, but I love that it's hand drawn. I'm gonna share the website, and we could talk about that for a little bit. And I know there's story involved in this as well. There we go. And then if this is not what you want me to share, I could.
Oh, this is fine. Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Yeah. Hand drawn. I watched. There is this website I linked in the description. There's a video here with some of like the background info, and it's like a little bit dark but very humorous as well, I think. So yeah, tell me about. I'll make this bigger. Just tell me about just the process. The fact that these are hand drawn is pretty interesting, and they look hand drawn. They don't look like generative art at all.
Yeah. They are still generative, but they're all all the assets were created by hand and sort of reassembled as generative pieces. Steve, you can talk about that.
Yeah, we wanted to kind of find a sweet spot between, mixing and matching all these thousands of parts, but not having it be like super stiff, like a lot of. All right, I'm not going to say anything bad about anything today. We wanted.
I told him to keep it positive.
I'll say it if you want. I'll say it if you want. So like you want it to look like the same collection, but be different enough that it's interesting, right?
And I don't, we don't want to look like Mr. Potato Head, where it's just a blob and then there's like 5 different eyes glued onto it. We want it to feel lively and organic, and I really want every single one of these images to look like,
there we go, it's better,
they were well considered enough and composed enough that they stand on their own as a drawing.
No, I think that's a good strategy, Cortland. That was basically your MO, right, for the Genesis mint. I distinctly remember it was like 40 something different body styles, but you could clearly tell because the way they're done, like basically like, I'm not an artist. I would call it like crayon style. Like if I would like slap a label on it, so they're from the same collection, but they're different enough that it's fun to have a bunch from the same collection, even if you don't do anything with them, because they look so different.
Yeah.
There's a lot of digital art that's very stiff and precise, and
Mr. Potato Head PFPs.
Potato Head. So we wanted to keep it really organic. We had some intention maybe later on of refining the kind of look and feel of these a little bit more, but it just the way it was growing and the way the story was feeling and the way the characters' expressions were, and the distance between cartoon and realism, like it all sort of started to gel and feel like it was like it had just grown into being that right space.
No, I mean, this is cool. It does get a little bit tiring. You're going through a collection, you can't even tell the difference between. Might as well just have all the same picture with some collections and just like a different token number, right? Like dollar bills, right? So these are cool. And I like I said, I like the little video. Everyone should, even if you're not going to mint this, watch the video. It's actually pretty funny. It's like a dark, like post-apocalyptic setting. Basically, saying like the lazy people get left behind when they had like a chance to get out of it.
Yeah. You want to talk about that?
Yeah,
sure. Yeah. So the project is called After the Filter, and the filter is this singularity event where all of humanity is invited to shed their physical form and have their consciousness uploaded into a digital paradise where it's a party forever. And you'd think that everyone would rush to line up to live forever, but there are some people who are not quite that organized, and they missed the deadline for the application. Maybe they were just busy, too sad, too unmotivated to get out of bed, and now they are kind of fucked. And so it's about the people who get left behind after this singularity event and how their relationships form with one another, the factions that rise up, and the sort of conflicts that arise in this newly sparse world.
So how does the story continue though after the mint? Is there stuff in the metadata? Will you guys be kind of like world building?
Yeah. So yes. So we have come up with a story arc for this world, and we know roughly, we know the basic outline, the beats, and how things will play out like globally across the story world. And so the interesting thing about this project and why it's sort of an experiment is that we don't actually know who the characters are that are going to drive this story. They won't be known until the characters are minted, and so folks who who mint these characters may find that they're the character they buy tomorrow will be prominently featured in this story that will play out in installments that we're calling chapters, and those will come out over the course of the next year. And
oh, cool.
And so they they'll all be available for anyone for free online, but they might differ in format. Like some of them are going to look a lot like the trailer. They're going to be animated, but we also may do like narrative podcast episodes and web comics and like other forms that we have a bunch of ideas, and we want every chapter to be a sort of surprise for the community. And I forgot to mention,
and someone might be having it like an actual character NFT that's featured in one of these storylines without knowing
exactly
release. Okay, but it sounds like you guys, like Cortland, you couldn't just be happy with Bad Kids, right? Drop the collection. It's like #1 secondary market. You guys created a lot of work for yourselves with this collection, it sounds like, but it sounds like you actually want to really build around this as well.
Yeah, I mean, this is a way different thing from Bad Kids. Like Bad Kids, it was a PFP. It was really different, but in a way that I think it appealed to people on Cosmos, and like really became like a symbol of the Cosmos ecosystem. And so it's to me, like After the Filter, it's not so much about I mean, you'll definitely like see yourself in these characters, but it's like these are characters that are maybe not exactly you, but that you would like to see in a story. And also just like kind of creating a world and telling a story I feel like you need to be upfront about that if you're going to do that with an NFT, because, otherwise, like, people bring their own stuff to things, and people have their own kind of attachments, which, I'm sure that'll happen here too. But it's, we're letting people know that this is going to be all these people in the collection are people that might turn up in the story, and, who knows what they're going to do. Like, you have some clues based on, their stats and their disposition and their intelligence and stuff like that.
So will there be opportunity for actual holders to get involved in story,
Yeah, that, Joe, thank you for bringing that up. That was one piece that I left out of my lengthy description that probably lost 70 viewers. But yeah,
well, you're doing good. The viewer count stays the same when you're talking, so you might take this over by the end.
Yes. So right now the channel for like community interaction is on the Discord that we created for After the Filter. And so what we plan to do with that is like have regular polls where we're going to ask the community questions, and some of those questions might be oblique, some of them might be pretty direct, but we're going to then use that that input that we get through those polls to affect the story in interesting ways that we hope will surprise people and get people energized. And and we're also going to sort of watch the conversation that goes down in Discord, because like I think one of the exciting things, like earlier today, Joe was talking about Lost and how that show, when it came out, like everyone was talking about it nonstop and creating all these theories, and that was super fun. It was more fun than watching the show itself sometimes, and so I think that that's a sort of spirit that we in our wildest dreams we would love to have, that kind of sort of like conjecture, and have people like wondering what's going to happen next, like who is the real adversary here, what's going to happen to these characters, and to try and shape the story in real time with the people who are invested in it, because they have like they have characters that might show up at one point or another.
This will be cool, and you'll definitely be able to string people along, right? And you have that like initial, I would call it like fan base, right, of Bad Kids holders, right? So I think this is I think you created a lot of work for yourself, but
well, it's interesting that you refer to it that way, because like we, like of everything we've done, for the past year, like this feels like the most work to me, like having to say interesting things and keep people online. Like the three of us were, like came together to work on this project just because we always wanted an excuse to work together, and like it's just been like pure fun, and we just sit in in our studios or on Zoom and just like make each other laugh until we cry, and it's really beautiful. I'm about to cry now, as a matter of fact.
Well, people should be really happy about this, even if they have no intention of minting, and they're going to wait to see how the secondary market shakes out, because a lot of creators would say, all right, I already got the #1 collection for this marketplace, I'll just do part 2, and I know it's going to mint out, and then I don't have to do anything else. But like I said, you guys, you chose the like very interactive. I would say I would consider it labor intensive, but it seems like this is in your skill set, that you are hell bent on, like you said, working together, pushing this forward. And I think you'll end up getting really active community members that maybe if there's another collection down the road, now you might have some actual former holders possibly directly involved, if they could enhance the project in some way.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like organic community building, right?
Yeah.
The real dream here is really to use an NFT as a way to create an audience that has like that kind of high obsessive level of engagement with all the other work that we're excited to do, so that we know that we have people following it and caring about it, and pushing us to keep doing more, better stuff.
And I mean, that's totally legitimate because the whole bear market sucks for everybody. But the people that rally around the different NFT collections, they're still having fun. Even it kind of takes the distract. I forgot that I went broke 9 months ago because I get to have so much fun with the NFT communities. So
Yeah.
like, one day I you lose like 30% of your portfolio, but my NFTs are still here. And NFTs, especially bad kids, right? Against the layer one token, whether it's on Solana, Ethereum, whatever, they did really well in the bear market.
Yeah.
Right. Because you could have basically, like in hindsight, if you traded all of your stars on Genesis Day to just buy any NFTs, at some point you could have traded them back for, anywhere from like 3 to like 25 times the amount of stars you originally had. Right. And you're not going to buy NFTs on Stargaze if you don't like the stars, the fact that it's an app chain and it has its own token. So NFTs did really well. And I think, I don't know, it's, you get like that, you're building off of the Genesis collection, which I think I feel like not enough attention is given to the Genesis collections right now. I hope that going forward, the Genesis collections are looked at as even like really historic for Cosmos, not even for Stargaze. And Bad Kids is still number one in trading volume, I'm pretty sure. And I remember when they flipped Stargaze punks, it happened. I first noticed they were close, and then it was like a couple weeks later, it was like a flip, and I was like, oh wow. And I think Cortland, you tweeted something out that day. You were watching it too.
Yeah. I mean, it was like a kind of slow and steady build for Bad Kids to get to number one, but yeah, it was really cool to see that.
Can we first of all, anyone that's in the chat, if you have a question, just type the question, and if they can answer it, they'll answer it. Something that people might question, right? You guys are going to hold back 10% of the supply. I've only seen a few projects do this, and I think it's really smart. What was the reason for that? Is it just for like giveaways to give you guys skin in the game, or is it in anticipation of future developments coming to Stars where you could basically LP your NFTs at some point, hopefully?
Yeah, it's a little bit of all of that. Like we want to have a supply to, for promotions, other stuff like that. And yeah, I mean, there's a lot of DeFi stuff coming that, where it might be good to have a supply, but also just, showing that we believe in this enough that, we're willing to hold these as well. Like we think they're worth more than the mint price.
Yeah. I think it's smart. And I think, I watch a lot of Don Kryptonium stuff, and he hates the royalties, but this could kind of replace royalties over time, right? Where you sell out your collection, but you're holding back 10%. Every week you could just raffle one off for way more than the mint price. And that goes to the creators. Or you could do, Stargaze is supposed to have liquidity pools for NFTs. There's definitely going to be a Bad Kids pool, right? People will be able to basically supply liquidity to these pools, and the team should have the biggest wallet, right? Because you want a lot of trading activity. So any info about that, like when it could happen on Stargaze?
I haven't been keeping up with it, so I'm not.
It's a tough concept. It's.
I have no idea what you're even talking about. So.
So there are some platforms, and I had to be. I was always told about it, and I couldn't imagine what it looked like. And then actually, Don showed it to me, and like light bulb just went off. But basically, you have a liquidity pool of NFTs. So let's say I have 10 Bad Kids. I put them in the liquidity pool. If there's 100 Bad Kids, I'm getting 10%. I have 10% of the pool. Any trading that goes on, rather than go to the secondary market, you trade with the liquidity pool. And there's 1% fee or something like that, 2% fee. For NFTs, it's going to be way higher than DeFi. I'm collecting on that activity, and it's all happening at the floor price, right? So it's giving a lot of utility to the floor NFTs because most people, for most collections, they're really hard to sell NFTs at the floor price, but this would probably raise the floor price because there'd be tons of volume there. So yeah, it looks basically like a liquidity pool of NFTs, and it's loosely connected to the market, like the regular secondary market price. But as you click to take NFTs out of the pool, the price is going up. So you're pushing the floor price up anytime you're buying out of that liquidity pool. I had to be shown it, but Stargaze, it's been rumored, let's say, that hopefully sometime this year they'll have that, and then the team can be that ultra kind of whale wallet that supplies liquidity rather than, Cortland. I know like Bad Kids has a big project wallet, right? They're just sitting there.
Yeah.
And
that could change when Stargaze has DAOs come along, then it could be like move to like a DAO treasury and let people kind of
there's that too
on what to do with them. And, that's a possibility for after the filter too down the line.
Yeah, that would be cool to give utility to those NFTs that are just like sitting in everyone's wallet, whether it's like you said, they get used as some kind of DAO treasury, they get used in these NFT liquidity pools. And Shane last night at one of the events that I went to was like a NFT panel. I don't know if you were at that one, the Polygon event.
Yeah. Okay.
At
Sour Mouse, I think.
He mentioned like, why not try to make a coin based off like the value of, a pretty stable collection like Bad Kids.
First of all, I fundamentally disagree that a stable coin should be based on Bad Kids. If we're doing a Bad Kids coin, it's got to be like unstable. Like there's got to be instability built into it. Like if they want to make a coin, that's fine, but it should be completely unpredictable how much you're getting or what it's worth.
Right, like the denominations, like just they don't even have to make sense, right? They could it could be a stable coin, but there could be like pennies, nickels, quarters, whatever, and then even those can change price. Bad Kids money.
Yeah, I mean, as far as any of that stuff goes, as much as it serves to basically help us continue to make new chapters and stuff of this story, that's great. But that's really not, I mean, certainly it's necessary part of this ecosystem. But I think that our interest in that as creators primarily is just like, I like the idea of creating these stories because it creates incentive for people to keep an eye on exactly who's in their collection. And like some guy might be like a total sleeper in your set that turns out to be, a cool, important character later on in the story. And like, I like the idea of having people constantly sort of re-examining the collection and thinking about which characters are really like the most special.
Right. And like you said, people, let's say like I don't want to say the value of the character in the story, but let's say the attention given to that character can go from like 0 to 100 based on the stories that are being created. And like you said, people will kind of revisit their holdings and kind of be able to, I guess, appreciate the different pieces based on how the story's changing directions, what characters might be in them. Right.
Exactly. I think a lot of the fun of our storytelling in part is going to come from taking a few characters that have, these rich combinations of elements, including all these hidden traits that are directly going to affect how they interact with each other. And, it's going to keep it really unpredictable for us too, and keep it really fresh. And, you're going to see maybe there's some trait like the character's intelligence or something, or the job they had before the filter that ends up being a really important trait in this world that, you didn't necessarily anticipate on day one.
Yeah. And I think like if the story we tell is compelling and people are enjoying it, like that, I think that just adds value to the collection,
It does. Absolutely. Absolutely. As you're talking, I'm like moving money from Coinbase to Osmosis, so to get ready for tomorrow. I have a bunch of stars unbonding, but I don't think it's going to get there in time. It's like going to be at night. So anyway, this is why I don't do too many live.
Someone pointed out to me, like, we announced not that long ago, like last week at some point, and they're like, it would have been nice if you would have given 14 days notice, because that would have allowed people to unbond. So hey, who knows? Maybe the mint's still going. I think if it's still going 3 or 4 days after it starts, that would be 14 days after we announce. So then the unbonders can join in.
Yeah, I mean, this will be a fun one to mint for sure, and I'll get one on the whitelist and that I'm going to use that as a giveaway, and then I'm going to just try to get that public. You said 3 p.m. Eastern time for the public mint, or 4? I can't remember. You said 3, right?
It's 3 p.m. Eastern, which is like the normal time that public mints start on Launchpad.
All right. Let's see what else I got. NYC NFT is happening now, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're local. I'm local. We got to check out some stuff yesterday. Any other artists that you got to meet during this week, or will meet tomorrow, that you were very excited to meet for the first time?
Oh man, there's a lot of people, and I drank a lot, and now I've forgotten all their names. But
do you remember their Twitter handles?
Do you remember their Twitter handles?
I'll say we've spent basically the entire day in here staring at the computer. I've been like trying to bug fix, like 10,000 characters, and haven't exactly like fully processed what's happened in the last 24 hours yet. But yeah, we met a bunch of people that made some cool projects. It was really cool to see how much excitement there is in this space. I mean, this is really the first time I've dipped into the NFT world, and I had no idea. I thought there might be 20 people at that party, and there was, I don't know, 1,000. I don't know how many. A lot of people.
When I got there was a little bit of a line, and people that were just walking by on the other side of the street to say, "Hey, what's going on over there?" Like, oh, is it, I don't even know what it's like. Oh, it's digital art party, and they went right away to try to get in, and they had no idea what it was about. So
yeah, I saw a bunch of kids getting kicked out at the door. There was a guy playing saxophone. I mean, what more could you ask for?
It was fun. And for people that don't know, there's probably like 60 or 80 side events happening. So the actual NFT NYC, it's at the Javits Center. Most people that come here probably don't even go into that. They're here for side events or just to like hang out, right? I don't know. Did you go to the actual like conference itself, or were you just?
No, I mean, that would have been smart if I wasn't doing like a lot of last minute stuff on this. It's sort of, at this point, it's either finish after the filter or go to events. I probably have to finish after the filter.
All right. Well, I'm going to try to go to some stuff tomorrow. Today I had to take off because I was like, I don't know, I thought I was in college again. It was so much fun, getting drink tickets, meeting people who I've only ever talked to like as a PFP. I thought it was cool. Another content creator who I recognized, he said hello to me. I said, I know you from somewhere. And he goes, oh, I have a YouTube channel. I said, yeah, but your YouTube channel is in Spanish, so I don't watch it, but I did try to watch one that he made, and that's how I remembered him. But I didn't know his Twitter handle. I just knew like his YouTube. I subscribed to it, even though it's in Spanish. There was a couple people that I got to meet. It was fun. It was a lot of fun. Hopefully there's like a bunch of these that come to New York throughout the year, because it seems like there's a lot of crypto culture here and a lot of NFT and art culture as well.
Yeah, it was a good scene last night. I'd much rather talk to people at a party than at the fucking Javits Center.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, good Lord. No, for sure. Yeah, that's definitely how I lost my voice, trying to just talk to people over the music, because it was like a club. They undersold it actually when they were advertising. It's it's a warehouse. It's not a warehouse. It was just clearly like an event venue that they do many events there. There's like a stage. The sound system was built in. It was not a warehouse. Trying to think what else. What did I forget that you guys want to get out there, or what you want me to share my screen and show anything else for people that are watching?
I don't know. What else do we need to talk about?
I don't know. I mean, I'll just say that going through the most recent build, they're totally surprised by a lot of the characters. Even though I drew everything, I didn't see every combination of everything when I was drawing it. You never know how it's going to come about. And some of the characters are cool for the subtlest reasons. Like they have a funny mismatch between their expression and their disposition or something. And then there are other characters that are just like, an awesome robot, that's like, yeah, okay, I get it. But I think that people are really going to have fun seeing what comes out of the collection. I think there's going to be a lot of surprises, certainly.
Yeah, I hope people share what they get out of the mint as they mint it, because it's like these are all, there's so many, there's like such a huge variety that you know, like I think people are going to get some really fun, unexpected things.
Well,
Yeah,
you put some fun stuff in the metadata for the bad kids, I remember.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to mention too, that we haven't really touched on, although, you know, Stephen has mentioned things like disposition, like we, you know, I think Joe, having like seen the response to the metadata, like the people buying a bad kid and then just like obsessively looking through the metadata, I was like, oh, that's a story, like that could be used for story. And that got us all like super excited about like ways that we could use the metadata to help like build out these characters. So, you know, in a certain way, you know, its basis was in the kind of like D&D stats. But we quickly sort of like realized that they felt a little like limiting and sterile. And so we went kind of bananas with the character stats and the metadata. And I think that, you know, there, like when we were talking to Don over the weekend, you know, he came up with this example of like, oh, I see there's a character here that is like, you know, not that smart. His intelligence is not that smart, but he's born to win, you know? And it's like, I know that person like drives me bananas, but they're out in the world. And that, you know, I think the contrast between those two pieces of metadata like really make this character emerge. And I, you know, as we've been like building this thing, we're seeing all of these weird like serendipitous moments where character emerges because of this this sort of like die roll of these stats.
And you can't even put some stuff in the metadata that doesn't even have a purpose in the beginning, right? And you could kind of work that in as you need it.
Absolutely. Yeah, we have a bunch of stuff like that peppered through.
These are kind of like character sheets in a sense, in that, you know, you do have these like things that kind of explain a little bit about who this person is, and yeah, I mean, the story is almost like a D&D module, right? You know, in that we don't know exactly who the characters are, but Matt, you kind of have the broad strokes of it, and you know, we're maybe not letting people have quite the same level of interaction as like a D&D campaign, but
yeah, and you know, we didn't want to put like armor class like 67. It's more like this person's like a neat freak.
Yeah, exactly. No numeric values. Everything is written out.
No, I think that's cool, because I think I would throw some like random numbers in there just in case I needed it for something down the road. But it sounds like you're going to have a lot of kind of like Easter eggs in the metadata. People that will mint will have no idea what most of it means.
We wanted more ambiguity in it, not for people just to be like, oh, I want the toughest guy or something. You know, we just want the characters to be interesting.
Well, here's a question about the metadata. Actually, as you build out the stories, I'm guessing there'll be different emphasis placed on different traits in the metadata. That's going to probably affect secondary sales, at least in a minor way, for people that are following the story, because there might be just collectors who want like the specific traits that are current in the story. Wouldn't you say so?
Yeah, maybe everybody who used to be a veterinarian before the filter ends up being the most coveted.
All the doctors made it out. The veterinarians are the procrastinators who just like me not doing my taxes yet. They didn't fill out their paperwork to save their own lives.
They're just cleaning out the cat kennels all day. They don't have time to fill out a form, you know?
I did have another question now, and I'm looking for it. Oh, will bad kids play into the story at all, or are you considering this two completely separate projects?
These are two completely separate projects. Okay. Like I kind of wanted to draw a line there. You know, it's the art is different. I think this will appeal to people who liked Bad Kids. You know, it has a very handmade look. It's very unique. It's very unlike anything else out there in the NFT world. And it's, you know, so it's another thing that I would say is like a pretty original idea. But it's and there are actually the next faction we're going to introduce in like a video is made up of children, you know, wandering the world with like mechs they've tamed. So, you know, that's there's a little bit of Bad Kids energy there.
So Sailboy wants to know if you are Don's American brother.
Hey, maybe we're distantly related.
I thought I was his brother for a little while, but now we had a live stream that lasted like 2 weekends, and then we axed it. It was very boring. What would happen if someone moved Bad Kids between wallets? Could they game the whitelist by moving Bad Kids? Probably.
I don't
Probably bad karma.
I don't know if that would work because there's a snapshot that's going to be taken for the whitelist. If we're talking about like moving it to try to game the whitelist, it's going to be where the whitelist will probably happen shortly before the mint starts, probably like half an hour before the mint starts.
So I said that the Bad Kids were a whitelist token, so that's not really true, right? The Bad Kids are used for the wallet snapshots. The wallets get basically whitelisted based on how many Bad Kids there were.
Yeah, exactly.
At the snapshot, right? So what I said was wrong, but it's.
Oh, you were close. You had the general idea.
Yeah. But I would like to see eventually whitelist tokens, right? Like project creators are having a mint, they give out these whitelist tokens, and then they get burned when they mint, or they could be sold on the secondary market if they can't mint or don't want to mint that collection. But people would not burn their Bad Kids to mint even this collection, I'm sure. I don't know. Anyone in the chat have any other questions? Anything else that I forgot? I think people are going to just mint this probably and ask questions later for the most part. So I did link your Discord in the description so people can get involved there.
Yeah,
is this separate Discord from Bad Kids, separate project, right?
Yeah. But I'm hanging out in both and trying to answer questions as much as I can.
Cool.
Yeah,
all right.
It'll be interesting. I think once people actually see the project in their hands tomorrow, there will be lots to talk about.
All right. Well, you're definitely building up the intrigue here.
NFT video, and you'll have plenty to think about.
All right. Well, when you guys get when the link becomes available to mint, I'll have it in the video. I'll definitely share it on Twitter. So if you guys want to just send me whatever links you want me to share tomorrow. Cool. I don't see it on the launch pad yet, but it'll probably be up there right before the mint. But yeah, that's it. I appreciate you accommodating my schedule. I have a horrible schedule, so it just so happens like this window opened up. I'm glad I was able to do this before you guys actually went live.
We're terrible at scheduling, so this was perfect for us.
No, good. I mean, you're in my time zone at least, so there's that. But usually there's like kids screaming and like glass breaking, so I can't always do recordings when I want to actually do them. Just like water running for like 40 minutes straight for no reason. It happens all the time. But yeah, this was great. It was nice to catch up with you again, by the way, in person, and to meet Steve. Matt, you're not local?
No, I'm up in Rhode Island.
Got it. Okay. Well, hopefully you guys continue to, pump out this good work. I'm sure our paths will cross again. And good luck tomorrow with this mint. It's probably nerve-wracking, right? Even though you've been through it before.
Yeah. Oh, it's always nerve-wracking. You never know what's going to happen.
I've talked to creators who literally stay awake until the thing mints out because they can't let it go. So hopefully, based on the timing,
we'll see.
Yeah. That's why we stayed out drinking till 2 a.m. last night so that we could sleep tonight through physical exhaustion. Yeah.
Well, NYC NFT is still going on. If people that are watching this, there are lots of Cosmos events happening. I know there's a spreadsheet of like 60 or 80 events, and a bunch of them are tomorrow, and I think even Saturday, right? Friday, Saturday. I'll share that on Twitter if I can get something that's easily shareable. Maybe you'll run into fellow Bad Kids holders, or maybe the artists behind After the Filter themselves. You never know. I'm sure you guys will want to get out at some point. So
yeah, we'll be around. Steve might be giving people tattoos that buy After the Filter if he can get access to a tattoo gun. So.
All right. Well,
assuming no licensing requirements.
Yeah, I guess we shouldn't advertise it too much.
Maybe we could add a utility right now to the both collections. If you have one and you're able to show it, free photo op with the creators here if you're able to find them.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't been examining people's wallets if they want to take a photo.
Yeah, if any holders want to come bring us a pizza right now, that would be great too.
That works as well. But you guys are in Manhattan, it looks like? Or was that a
Yeah.
fake background? Oh, okay. All right. Anyway, thanks again. I really appreciate it. And everyone that's plans on minting on tomorrow, good luck. Hope you get something cool. And I'll definitely be able to share all the info, and I'll share the ones that I mint as well. You know, nothing like a good wallet docs after a mint.
Nice. Thanks for having
All
us.
right, great.
Yeah,
Anytime,
thank
man,
you so
anytime.
much.